Okay, recording.
Good evening. It's 7 p.m. and I'd like to open the September 8th Trustees Board meeting. This meeting is being held virtually through Zoom. The town of Littleton began conducting remote participation Zoom meetings pursuant to Governor Baker's emergency order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law on March 19th, 2020. Since that time, unanticipated legal concerns relating to the open meeting law have been brought to our attention by the town clerk. Those concerns were supported by the Attorney General's office and confirmed by town council. One concern is that the chat function allows a parallel text conversation to a board's public meeting. Chat is essentially running commentary that is occurring, but is not moderated or followed by the chair. All participants and listeners may not be aware of the comments being made because some meeting participants join by phone and do not see these conversations. Another concern is that conversations between residents within the chat room are not incorporated into the public record. In response to these concerns, the town will implement the following changes which in no way prohibit any member of the public from participating in discussion and sharing information during a public meeting, and will ensure that all listeners and participants have equal access to this meeting. People that join the Zoom meeting are set so their microphones are muted. If you called in by phone, please use *6 to mute or unmute on your phone. So that the meeting can occur in an orderly fashion, we ask that people who join keep their microphones on mute so that background noises do not interfere with the meeting. If you wish to participate in the meeting, please use the raise your hand function available on Zoom, or if you call in by phone, dial *9, which will activate the raise your hand function. The meeting host will notify the chairperson of the raised hands, and the chairperson will determine whether and when to allow public comment. When called upon, participants should unmute, then state their name and address. After speaking, we request the participant return their microphone back to mute. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Going through the agenda, we can start with public participation.
There's no one.
Correspondence?
No.
Minutes?
I saw an email today that said that somebody had found a couple of errors, like one was K that was supposed to be Katrina.
That was me. I found one, just the shorthand during the meeting. It was K, which totally understand using it. But now there's two of us that our names start with K. So that was me. That K was mine. I'll claim it.
Are they adjusted?
I haven't seen it.
I didn't see anything else. All right, in that case, I make a motion to accept the minutes as will be adjusted.
I second.
Okay, well, hearing no further discussion, we'll go through a vote. Katrina?
Yes.
Dave?
Aye.
Mira?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on. Treasurer's report.
Okay, did everybody get all the stuff that I sent over today? Okay, all right. So anyway, the balances are the MMDT is $1,409.40, $1,409.40. The building fund is $589,907.61. And you all can see the Bartholomew there in front of you, which has since been corrected from this morning when Steve first mentioned it. And that is the treasurer's report.
Anyone have any more comments, questions?
I have a question about the minutes. I noticed that we had some communication from Steve Venuti, and I wondered if that should be reflected in the minutes about our goals and the totals and so forth that he sent.
So what Steve sent is we basically have raised just short of, well, between cash on, we have $750,000, almost 750 cash on hand that we've raised or devoted to the project. There's still pledges not accounted for in that number. What else did he say? So the bands we issued will come due. They're going to borrow for the remainder of the project, and they're still assuming that we're going to reach our goal. And he wants to know when we plan to reach that and collect it. So we should send him off. I can send him off something on that.
Do you want that information in the minutes? Does it matter? I mean, I was just going to copy that and put it right in there, but.
So we've basically collected roughly 750,000. We still have the outstanding pledges, and
Right.
I'm going to send a note to Steve, saying that we still believe we're on track for the full $1 million. So you can put that in the minutes. Any other questions on the treasurer's report? Friends report.
Okay. So I will let Katrina talk about mini golf, since I'm sure she will do that later. But they have so far had a good response to the membership newsletter. As of the meeting, they had over $2,000 that had come in from that, and so they've had some new members. And then another thing they talked about was the continuation of museum passes. Are they going to keep going on some of them, even though the museums are slowly opening? Not all of them, I guess, have been open yet, but people are reserving them. They are asking for them. So they did decide to renew the museum passes that were coming due at that point. And I believe, other than mini golf, that was all they talked about of note. So yeah, that is the Friends report.
Okay. So we can move on to the fundraising and talk about the mini golf there.
Yep. So the other half of the Friends meeting was dedicated to all of the nitty gritty details for mini golf, which happened in mid-August. It was, by all accounts that we can trace, a success. We raised over $12,000 in pledges and auction, the funds from the auction, and various other little donations and stuff that came in. So that was much better than I expected, given everything canceling in March. And we had a lot of participation. There was, it's kind of hard to track participation in this kind of virtual thing. But almost 60 kids registered for the free stuffed animal. And we had like 20 families per total for the 2 scavenger hunts participate. There was at least 12 logins for the music concert, the Kelly's music concert, but we know multiple people were sitting around the same computer. The story walks were very popular, and I kept getting selfies from families who were taking pictures along the way, which was awesome. So by all means, we had, and I know the parking lots were filled. I kept getting things from people saying the parking lots, are filled and people are enjoying them, but staying safe and being distant and everything. So it felt good to have some community gathering, if you will, even if it was distantly this week. So I'm glad that we were able to do some library mini golf, even if it wasn't the same as what we've had in the past. So I think we have like one outstanding check, and that's it. So we're getting close to wrapping that up completely. Any questions about that?
Nice job.
Thank you.
We had a blast. It was wonderful. So everything we participated in was really, really fun.
Yeah, thank you guys for like sharing and helping to spread the word too via the various ways that got spread. But it was, I agree with Mira. We had a lot of fun doing it. It was so fun to see people that we normally would just bump into in the library. We were seeing a lot of familiar faces, which we haven't seen in a while.
Nice. I didn't win any of my auctions, so I was disappointed.
Yeah, those
It was
donuts,
fun.
they went for a lot more than I expected. We got to
Yeah,
make a really good batch of donuts now.
I wasn't allowed to bid on them.
Oh,
Yeah, I wanted to push them up, but somebody wouldn't let me.
it was Mark, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh well.
All right. And then the other fundraising front, Sarah and I were talking about when we are going to start sending out the next reminder for the pledges. So the next round, the next year's collection cycle, if you will. So I think we're going to try to do it. We've actually had some people reach out asking us to send it. So I think we're going to send the first contact the end of this month, sometime between now and the end of October. And then we'll send another reminder toward the end of the calendar year, just for anyone who's still outstanding at that point. But we figure we should just start, if people want to pay it now versus waiting till the holidays, I feel like it might as well start rolling it in. I think that's all I have for fundraising, although Mark will probably tell me something I'm forgetting.
Nope. The only other thing on fundraising is I'm working on some of the larger donor letters still, getting those sent out. We're trying to go through the library and the new library and figure out what areas we have committed to names for and which areas are still available. So hopefully now that mini golf's over, we'll have our heads back above water and can start doing that. So those will probably be going out hopefully early next week. I sent a few of them out, but I have another 8 to 10 more to send out. So
Yeah, so we can chat about that, Mark, if you want help with that.
Okay, building project updates. Was there a meeting today, Sam? Okay, so I missed last week's meeting on the building project. Everything's still on track for the schedule as far as I'm aware. If you haven't been by the site, it looks very different. There's walls going up now. The floor is going in about 2 weeks, I think. The slab will be poured. We had a meeting with LCTV last week to make sure that they were prepared, that the library was prepared for whatever they needed as far as like not so much equipment, but like cabling. So, that there were the proper conduits under the floor now so that we didn't have to cut the concrete later to put in the conduit. So they had, LCTV actually had several good ideas on things we might be doing. So there were a couple of changes that were suggested, and like for the meeting rooms downstairs, there will be cabling through the floor to come up basically by one of the tables for to plug into the TV, so that there's no cables you don't have to take a cable out of the wall. It'll come off of the floor basically under the tables. So that'll be a little nicer, I think. Am I missing anything on the building project, Sam?
Nope, I think that pretty much covered it.
We're going to be picking colors for things soon, I think. Like brick colors and things like that, I think, right? And at some point we need to decide if we're going to upgrade the heating system to put in like UV filters or whatever, how much that costs and what it's worth, what it buys us if we do that, and if there's extra money around for that. But I think everything else is on track. I don't know if there's anything moving on the furniture front.
I emailed Sam today because I haven't done anything like I said I would. So we're meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Can we get
Any
back to
question?
the, yeah, on
Go
the
ahead.
heating system, on the heating system?
Yep.
So you were talking about trying to figure out whether the UV was worth doing? And
So-
that's for the COVID thing, right?
So we've talked to the architect and the builders a bit about some things that you could do to for the heating system. One is changing the type of filters you put in and changing them more frequently, which will help with the COVID type issues. There's also the technology now that some offices in Boston are starting to put in, where there's like they actually shine UV light through the heating, basically through the air circulating through the heating system, which kills a huge percentage of the
Right.
viruses
Well-
and the bacteria coming through. But it's unclear how much that costs. And
Well, what I was leading up to is it would probably cost more to retrofit than fit. So
Yes.
just give it the consideration that it needs, that's all.
yeah, so yeah, I haven't had a chance to talk to Steve Moore about it. I'm going to try and do that in the next couple of days and see what he thinks, and to see, if we need to know when we need to make a decision by that on. It's probably a change order, and it's probably going to cost money. So we need to know how much it costs and when we need to make that decision by. So, so.
Thank you.
And I think the town hall employees are surviving with the construction going on okay now. There's no less rattle involved, I think.
Yeah, the buildings don't shake anymore, so they've been okay. They're all right.
Okay.
And their parking spaces aren't being blocked, as far as I know. So that was the other issue. The trucks were, when they were in line, they were blocking people from leaving, but that's been taken care of.
Okay. Okay, so trustee updates. Dave, you want to start?
Oh, yeah, I suppose. I've just been waiting for COVID to be over with. Just following along with the library as much as I could without actually walking inside and scaring everybody. Working at home, working at work, fixing up the house, trying to get it ready for winter. That's it.
Katrina?
I was buried in mini golf, so that was my main thing for August. And I did get to kind of check in on our librarians because I had a COVID-related question earlier. So just to try to understand how they're how the curbside's working and where it's laying out and how that might look if things have to open up or when they open up later on, and we're doing both services. So that was kind of helpful just to keep in mind. And then the other thing is Jenna has been killing it with the teen programs. My daughter loved all of them that she did this year. So the paint night in particular was a hit among many of them, but she did a great job.
Chris?
I don't really have anything terribly new. I got a lovely thank you note from Katrina's children for their Readers for Life program, which is really nice. I just thought of something else. Oh, Catherine won one of the prizes for the summer reading program. So even though she didn't log most of her hours, she reads all the time, but forgot to log most of her hours, but still won something because she logged some hours. So that was a nice surprise because we need more books in my house. I think I'm rivaling the Reuben Hoare Library at the moment with the number of books I have in my house. Aside from that, just trying to keep my head down and do my work and do my writing and preparing for winter, I think, as Dave said. I'm not really looking forward to earlier sunset, so I don't like the dark. But we'll get through it. Miss seeing you guys in person.
Mira?
So again, we really enjoyed mini golf. We, I think, participated in almost, not quite everything, but as much as we could. Summer reading program was also a hit. My kids got lazy about logging their hours, but from what they did log, they both got over 100 hours and are excited now to get a t-shirt. So that's big news. So yes, the summer reading program was a success despite not being able to do it in person. Although they did miss, I think they missed, the reason why they didn't log their hours because they love that validation when they bring in their book and the Diane or Jean, you know, fawn over them. Oh, this is so great. But, you know, it was as good as it could be. So they had fun. And right now I'm just in the middle of school trying to figure out how to be a successful remote teacher. So that will keep me busy for the next week and a half until we actually start. So, yeah.
Well, good luck.
Thanks.
I was busy with mini golf. I'm trying to convince the friends to hold a book sale in the parking lot to help clear out the trailer, or 2 or 3 book sales. Sam and I actually attended an interesting meeting last week. I don't know who actually put it on, but there's a organization that's going to try and get all of the libraries that are either all the libraries that are got the MBLC construction grant to get them to kind of lobby their state legislatures and band together to go after potentially a next round of federal stimulus funds. So if you remember when we had the recession before, there was the, shovel-ready projects that were eligible for a large federal reimbursement. There's a general feeling that another one of those is going to be coming, another round similar to that is likely to be coming around, and that the library should be ready for that money, or getting in line for that money. So that effort is starting up, and I think Sam and I will be participating in that. The numbers they're throwing around is, so the way it worked in the past was that the federal government would reimburse projects up to 75% of the cost, which would be, we get 40-some% from MBLC, so we get another 30-ish, 25 to 30% from the federal government, which would be somewhere in the $2.5–3 million range of additional grant money. Stay tuned for more information on that. We're going to start publicizing this with the selectmen and the town administration, and work our way up. So that's it for me, I think. We're also working on trying to get drone videos together of the library building progress. So we're trying to keep up with that. So, okay. Director's update.
Okay. So previously we were quarantining books and other materials for about 3 days. We've gone up to 4 days. There was a research study that was done that showed that the virus can stay on materials for up to 3 days. So we decided to go a little longer than that. There is now a delay on when late notifications are going to go out for library patrons because of these delays, because all the libraries are basically quarantining. So late letters were going out to patrons before they were necessary, because a lot of libraries hadn't checked in items yet because they were quarantining them. So that was done a few days ago. The town finance director, Cheryl, has informed me that we can spend town funds on payroll, town materials, office supplies, and processing supplies, but there's a spending freeze on pretty much every other budget line. Summer reading went very well. We had 258 kids sign up, 5,894 hours in the kids' room. 15 kids read over 100 hours. And the teen and adult summer reading also went very well. Helen's DIY room decor craft was also a huge success. They were going out the door faster than make them. I'm working with the new COA director also on a couple of programs for the next couple months. One will be a book club for adults, for seniors, sorry. And another one will be some sort of author talk. I've also spoken with Andy about the how we can work with the to do a Littleton Reads. And let's see what else. The rest of the stats, as far as spending goes, we're on track. Payroll's good. Like I said, I can only spend on town materials right now, so we're doing pretty well with that. We're spending money on museum passes as they slowly reopen the museums, and patrons are coming in for the museum passes, so that's good. And yeah, that's it. Any questions?
What does town materials mean?
So books, anything that we spend that can circulate. So books, DVDs, audiobooks. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything
Okay.
that goes towards the more.
Okay.
And what else did you say that we can spend town funds on? It was the materials and payroll and what else?
Processing supplies and office supplies. And that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Do we quarantine incoming and the interlibrary loan materials when they come in, or
Yeah,
just when they?
everything that gets put in the book drop, all of the bins that come in, they sit on the side for a few days. Yeah, pretty much everything.
So it's not just it's so when I get a hold, you've already had the material for 3 or 4 days by the time I get the notification.
Yeah, we
That's what
have
you're
it.
saying.
Right.
Okay. Just a clarification. How are the are people still doing the next reads form that you put together? Or?
Yeah, people are still signing up for those, both in the children's room and adults. The staff is working on those pretty much almost every day.
Okay, good. Any other questions for Sam? Okay,
Thanks,
COVID
Sam.
update.
How are the computers going, Sam?
They're going okay. We get a few people a week. It's not super busy. We get a lot of repeat people, a lot of the same people coming in every day.
How many in a week on average, or in a day on average?
Maybe one or two a day, but it's usually the same person, the same couple of people every day.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, COVID updates.
So pretty much it's same old, same old. We're doing curbside. That's going well. Staff is keeping busy with that. The town hall did open by appointment only. They have a greeter that meets people in room 103 and then escorts or signs them in and then escorts them in. There are other libraries in the area that are opening, but they're saying the same thing, that they're not really getting tons of people coming in. So I agree with Katrina that we should probably stay closed for a while and see how things are going. I think curbside is going well. People like it. People are getting used to it. And I think we work for the staff. The staff are pretty busy as it is. The people that are coming in for computer appointments, sometimes some of them forget to wear their masks, or we have to keep reminding them to wear a mask, or they're sitting at the computers for so long that they just kind of pull their masks down. And so, there's a fear that other patrons would do the same thing. And that bothers a lot of staff, and understandably. So I think for right now we're probably better off just keep doing what we're doing.
So have two questions, I guess. One, is there any general consensus from the consortium libraries when they're going to go beyond curbside to a more open state? Has there been discussions about that, of coordinating that effort?
Coordinating? No. Each library, it varies from library to library. Some of them are doing what we're doing. Some of them haven't even opened yet. They have staff in the building, but they refuse to open until there's a vaccine or we're at stage 4. Some libraries are letting people in by appointment. It's all over the place. It's honestly all over the place.
And that's true of the neighboring libraries, the surrounding libraries, not just the consortium ones. You know, if we went to like Air, Groton, Acton, Westford, Harvard.
I know Groton. Yeah, Groton's letting people in by appointment, or very few people in at a time. Chelmsford is, Westford is. I'm not sure about Air or Acton.
Okay. My other question is, do we have an idea when we want to reevaluate about going to a further opening stage and what that stage might look like?
Who are you asking?
Yeah. Is that to me?
I'm asking more towards Sam, but
Okay.
Katrina can chime in too.
I want to see what it's like in the fall, to be honest. I like right now, numbers are going up in places. It's going to get colder out. We're entering flu season soon. Yeah, I'm worried to see. I don't want to, like Katrina said, I don't want to open just to close again.
That is one of my fears, is that you open and then in 2 weeks things are very different. And with school and activities and businesses are about to burst wide open, or not wide open, but with adjustments with masks and air filtration and whatnot, I feel like sitting where we are, where we're serving curbside and people are content right now and have access to computers, if we can do the Zoom activities, keep that stuff going, see how we can serve families who are homeschooling suddenly or doing remote and needing a little extra, especially those younger kids. If we can keep those things robust, I feel comfortable sitting here and saying, let's see what happens over the next month or so to the rates in our area. Our area is low, and let's hope that the safeguards that are being layered on for schools and stuff will keep it that way. But I also think there's, if we are to open the library, I think we should do another walkthrough. I feel like I've had this crash course over the summer and I've learned a lot. And I think there are ways we can add some of the harm reduction things to it that I've learned about since the last time we talked back in the spring, to see what we can do to help minimize risks, but also bring staff along. What are they fearing? And is that like a fear that is really a big fear or a big cause for concern, or is it something that's just uncertain? And can we figure out ways to help reduce risk till we feel comfortable? But the big thing is people are going to really get used to wearing masks very shortly as they start moving around, more so than we have even up to this point. So I feel like that habit will be forming over the next month more so than ever up to this point. So I think this will be a continued discussion every month.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting we go and open tomorrow by any stretch. But what I'm suggesting is, do we think we're going to have or should be having a plan that we're reviewing at our meeting next month, right? Or are we going to be starting the discussion at our meeting next month and, plan for, when do we think we need to have a plan in place for what the next stage would be? Assuming that we need to have a plan in place, for at least a couple weeks before we open, right? I'm just asking when we think we need the plan for a plan, when those dates are.
My guess is by the beginning of October, we won't be ready to open again. But I think asking I was trying to figure out what questions to ask the staff to start pulling in. What is it that we need to start thinking about seriously if and when, actually it should be when the time comes to open more to the public. And what is the number, like what are the rates? What's the I can't open or I won't open, or what happens to the staff if we choose to open and they're not willing to take that risk? So I feel like we have some hard discussions ahead of us. But I think we can have the discussion on an ongoing basis and starting now. I'll try to figure out what those questions are that I have about the building itself and what you guys are doing, because I think there's a lot to it. After talking to Andy the other day, she walked me through what they do for curbside and then trying to figure out how you would even try to open it and have your books accessible to the staff and stuff. There's a lot going on that has to be reimagined.
Okay, so go ahead, Dave.
Thank you. I don't see that we can do anything, at least for a month. I don't even think we can, well, we could talk about it as much as we want, but I don't see anything happening until, I forget whether it was Sam or Katrina said vaccine. Okay, and I think that's what's going to take before everybody's going to feel comfortable. I was just imagining the other day about the library trying to open and people coming in by appointment and then walking down the aisle and picking up a book and looking at it, and putting it back and coming down and picking up another one and putting it down, and finally after 5 or 6 books they might choose one and go home and then get sick. Okay, and I don't know how you can, you can't prevent that, you can't fix it, you can't even talk about that, because that's just the way that would be until there's a vaccine. So I don't see any opening this month or maybe even next month. But we can talk about it. Sorry to be so down, but.
So So I think we can open without a vaccine. We just need to have the proper plan and procedures in place. I mean, I know other libraries are open. My sister-in-law's library in Connecticut has been open for over a month for in-person visits, and I know things aren't the way they were before, but they're still allowing people in. So I can see us being at that stage, potentially within, and I could see us potentially being in that stage in October at some point, right? Depending on how things are going here, or it might be November, right? Or, it could be December, but I think the discussions need to be happening now, and that we haven't even come up with what a reasonable Littleton level is for us to consider opening, right? What we need. So I think those discussions need to be starting to happen, right? So that we know how to make our patrons feel safe, use the library, and make our staff safe and support them at the same time. And if we're going to say the library is, a focal point in the community, then we kind of need to be that focal point and figure out what that means in these times, right? And maybe we're as much of a focal point as we can be now, but maybe we need to do more. Maybe we need to, put ourselves out a little more and figure out what that means. So I think Sam and Katrina and, I'll help work on some of this. I mean, I can figure out what my sister-in-law's library is doing and kind of help paste that in. But I think we need to be working on a plan and then just figure out when we want to execute that plan. I'm not suggesting that we open to people tomorrow, and I'm not even actually suggesting we do it, the 1st of October, but we should be ready for that stage and not just, waiting for it to happen, right? That's where I'm at.
And I agree with that. Much as I want a vaccine tomorrow, it's not going to be tomorrow. So, and I do think there are things we can do that have been shown to reduce the risk for the people who are in contact. or in the public, not necessarily in contact. So I think there are things we can talk about and move towards, but part of it is also just seeing where those decision points of no go are, and we have to start talking about them now and figuring out how, if we open what, and these are the things we can line up to help reduce risk, what happens next? Like, can we get staff feeling better? Can we get patrons feeling better? Or what is it we can do right now to make our online activities more robust and present and accessible? Like, can we, one thing I was wondering, not everyone has Zoom or computer accessibility, but is there a way to do story times over LCTV, or what might that look like? Is there another way of connecting that may not be something we've traditionally thought about? That's not necessarily people in the building, but there are ways for us to bring people together. Mini golf, I guess mini golf found ways to bring people together, and I'm wondering if we can do more now to bring people together in a non-traditional way.
I also wonder if maybe there's an opportunity to partner with like COA and LCTV to do things like, I wonder if there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to do Zoom or Google Meets or any of these other things, and the three organizations can kind of figure out a partnership on how to do a LCTV, walkthrough on how to host a Zoom meeting, how to set it up, what you get, and that type of thing, right? Just to help people out that are not tech savvy, that you can't really invite to a Zoom meeting to tell them how to hold a Zoom meeting. So if there's a ways we can reach out to people that way and help out. We should also probably be promoting that we have Wi-Fi available for those that might not know it, right? So anyway, I think there's a lot of things we should be doing more, and we just have to figure out how to do it and publicize it properly. So,
Sam, do you have a good idea of, like, I know people kind of disappeared this summer, but do you have a feeling for what services people think they need in the next few months? I know there's a big transition with hybrid and remote schools, and I'm not saying that you bring kids in and watch them do remote schooling. I'm not going there. But, like, what other things they might need, like a preschooler who needs some sort of story time / letters or whatever, or homeschoolers who just need a way to get an event to bring people in so their kids are interacting with other people. Like, other things, who are we not talking to that we could serve, I guess is my question. Or what are people saying to you guys?
They're not really saying anything. I mean, I think probably the senior population, and so I can definitely speak with Ashley now that she's there and we are speaking. What a lot of other libraries are saying is that they're not really seeing people want a ton of new services. They just want to be safe and to use the books and have access to what they had before in a safe way. They're not the first hour being open for seniors. That's not doing anything at any of the libraries. The seniors are coming in at all times of the day, so a lot of the libraries are going to stop that. It's just, I think a big reason that we're not getting so many people coming in for computers too is that people don't want to come in as much as some of the staff don't want to have people not feeling safe. So it's really a big unknown right now. What some libraries are doing is they're coming up with surveys. So maybe we could do some sort of community-wide survey that we could come up with that might answer those questions. And I can speak to other library directors and see what they've come up with and figure out a way to get it out there to not just online, but to other people as well that don't have access.
yeah, I think doing a survey to ask people what they need or want from the library, or envision what they envision needing or wanting from the library, over the next 3 to 6 months is a great idea. So then maybe we are focusing too much on getting people into the building and they don't want to be in the building, and maybe they really want something else, and we should ask them more what that something else is they want, right?
Yeah, a lot of the library directors that I've spoken to that have opened, they came up with numbers of how many people should be in the building, and they're not anywhere close to reaching those numbers. It's a very small percentage that are actually coming into the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting with school starting too, what people envisioned for the summer and we're okay with might shift. And as weather cools down and people are indoors more.
So the other thing that I think kind of has to happen too, along the same lines with the school starting up, is I think the library needs to reach out to the schools and basically ask the teachers, what things are coming down the pike that the library is going to need to provide. Because the kids aren't going to be able to, if they need to do book reports or, research papers, they're not going to be able to come into the library to browse for the books they need, right? So we're going to have to figure out how to service the kids for that. So we might want to reach out. Maybe there should be something goes out to the different principals to forward to the teachers at the various schools to say, as to survey them, basically to say, how can the library help you teach in your hybrid model, right? So I think that's it's a more directed survey than asking the general public, but I think we should probably reach out to the schools and figure out what we could do for them as well. So
Yeah, I agree.
If you want me to help with any of the surveys, Sam, let me know.
I'd be happy to as well.
Sure.
I will as well, Sam, if you need help.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, I can help also.
Do you have any comments as being a teacher, what you envision, Mira?
I can't even wrap my head around it. I mean, there's so much. I think, at least from my perspective, I'm having to rethink everything I have been teaching and find different materials, whereas before I used a book to teach something or packets. Now it's all right, can I find something comparable online? So I can't, I think for me, it's going to be day by day, and I will figure it out as I go. I'm already starting to think about, okay, how would I do this differently teaching online than I would in a classroom where I can use paper. So I think there may be a need, but I would, at least I have no idea what it is yet because I haven't seen how this is going to be in action. So I don't know what it will be like. But yeah, as we go on, have it to be an ongoing dialogue too, not just a one-time thing, to keep communication open. If there is things teachers think of that they know they can contact the library for support and help.
Right. So along those lines, it might be good to have a designated point person for each school, right? Like Diane does Shaker Lane, and Jean does Russell Street, and Jenna does, along those lines, it might be good to have a point person, not that the teachers can reach out to. Not necessarily that point person is responsible for everything, but they can be responsible for the communication and farming it out to the other staff and for help, right? So that there's always someone that they know they can go to. So.
Okay. Yeah,
And I was just throwing out names. You don't have to follow my.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on COVID?
No, schools are really messed up. Talking with my son, he's getting ready for school, and so he's in the classroom now, and he described to me yesterday teaching on Zoom and having live children in front of him that he's also trying to teach, which to him is impossible because he's teaching into a Zoom and he's got kids sitting in front of him, and you know what they're doing? They're watching the Zoom. on their own in front of him. So he's zooming to kids that are sitting in front of him and zooming to kids that are at home. And it's just nuts. I feel really bad for any teacher right now trying to make this work.
So in fairness, I know a lot of meetings are held that way, where if you have a lot of remote staff, even the people that are local will call into the meetings and all of them will be on their local computer. And that makes it an even playing field. So everyone sees the same thing. So it's a different world for the teachers not being used to it, but it's something that happens in the professional world now, where everyone, even when you're in person meeting, the person sitting across from you is on the same Zoom call you're on.
Nuts.
So, anything else on COVID updates?
No.
Okay, transfer of funds for programming.
So at the last meeting, we discussed transferring $3,000 for programming. So do we want to take that out of BART? I'm not sure.
Sure, can you pop up the... So we take things out of ending earnings, right? Is that what we do?
I believe that's what it was, yes.
And you said $3,000, so that Fletcher Cobb Fund works or the Houghton Fund works, right? They both have enough money in it that we could move 3,000 out.
Use 304, is that what you, no, you said 305, Houghton? Is that what you said?
Yes, 305.
Yeah, you could do that.
Does someone have a better idea?
Real well, if we're gonna do it, it doesn't really matter almost which one we take it from, as long as we're leaving. You know, I guess it doesn't matter if we even clean it out, but there's nothing that's exactly 3,000. So I would say
No.
either anyone.
So are you going to make a motion, Dave?
All right, let's see. Let me just check it one more time. Okay, the Elizabeth Houghton Fund 305 has ending earnings of $5,893.62. I make a motion that we move $3,000 out of that account to fund our whatever that was.
Programming.
Programming, yes. That was a motion.
I second
Did I-
that.
Fund
Can I ask
number.
Can I ask a question first? Is this for a specific period of time, for the calendar year, for the fiscal year, or for
Fiscal year.
fiscal year? Okay.
So anyway, the motion is for Fund 305, Elizabeth G. Houghton Fund for $3,000 towards programming.
Okay, moving to a vote. Dave?
Yes.
Katrina?
Yes.
Mira?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Okay, so motion carries. And next on our agenda was...
Mark, did you vote or not?
I never vote.
Well, then
I
it should
never
be
vote.
it should be noted that you abstained.
I didn't abstain. If you're actually following Robert's Rules of Orders, the chair never votes.
Okay, well
So-
let's just say somebody else other than me might ask. So cover your own self. However you
Okay,
want to
I
do it.
vote. So I'll vote yes. So LCTV warrant.
So can I just say, just so everybody knows, if I'm assuming that Mark's voting yes when I'm making the minutes, so I'm always saying 5 or 6 to 0 unanimous, unless I hear otherwise. So if that should not be correct, then you need to let me know.
It's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so the LCTV article, this is basically they're asking for money from their cable access funds to pay for funding the cable studio in the new library, I believe, right? Is that right, Sam?
Correct.
Um,
I'm not sure if you guys actually have to do anything about this. Do you know, Mark? I just was sharing this information. I don't know if you have to actually vote to support it. Or
It actually has, other than the fact that we're on it, we have no control over yes, yay, or nay, unless we wanted to have ourselves removed from it. But I don't see where it needs a vote, like you said. I think it's a great idea.
So what we agreed to with LCTV is that the large meeting room downstairs will be wired for live broadcast. And if they're doing a live broadcast in it, they will basically have access to the whole meeting room, right? We wouldn't be trying to hold another program while doing a live broadcast. Because of that simplifies placement of cameras, and then there's no competing sound in the room. So they basically want equipment to, they're asking for money from their own funds to to outfit the cable studio. So I don't know that we need to take a motion on this. I mean, we can take a vote to support it at some point if we want, but I don't know when the warrant closes to print. When's the town meeting?
In November, isn't it?
yeah.
Okay, so we can probably wait till our next meeting to figure out if we should take a vote on it. So, okay. Does anyone have anything else?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, well, yeah, just as long as we're quarantining books for 4 days. When books go out, do we quarantine them on the way out? Sam?
No, because they've been on the shelf for a while anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't think we can do anything till we stop quarantining books, but that's all part of the planning.
Okay.
I make
Okay.
a motion to close the meeting.
Do I hear a second?
I will second.
Okay.
Who's that? Who seconded? Katrina?
Give it to Mira.
Okay. Motion made and seconded to close the meeting. Dave?
Aye.
Katrina?
Aye.
Mira?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Okay, I vote aye to close. Our next meeting is scheduled for October 1st. So
October 1st.
see everyone there.
7 or 7:30?
I think we're meeting at 7. Is that
Sounds
right?
good.
Sure.
Okay.
Is that a Thursday?
Yes.
Okay.
We're going back to Thursdays. Are there any more committee
Thank
meetings?
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't like Tuesday night. It's hard for me. Thursday's better.
All right.
Okay.
All
I don't have to
Okay.
listen to any more school committee meetings then. It'll be fine.
Okay. Have a good night, everyone.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good
Thank you.
night.
I'll
Good
have the
night.
minutes to you guys shortly.